The year is 2016. My Hero Academia made its way to our TV screens. Bungo Stray Dogs had me in a chokehold. Shoujo fans are screaming with joy over Snow White with red hair. Orange was done dirty with only getting 13 adapted episodes. But most importantly, Kei self-designated himself as an anime fan. It was a time when anime was nearly inescapable, but I never caught the otaku infection. I liked Naruto, Fairy Tail, Fruits Basket, and Yona of the Dawn, and didn't really care about fandom. It was a frigid December day, and my friend Vanessa inextricably chose me to accompany her to a viewing of Fairy Tail. From that day forth, it was over. I scoured many sketchy sites to consume this anime that had rekindled my desire to cuddle happy in my lonely arms. I was recently reminded of simply watching anime for fun while being extremely stressed about college. And let me tell ya, it's been quite a semester. I don't consume as many anime as much as I used to because time is non-existent, and I have a 15-page rhetoric final paper that needs to be done in less than 2 weeks. So today, I just wanted to have a unscripted, very chill, chatty video about anime that I've been watching and just some of my experiences with consuming anime as a young adult. Over the past year of making YouTube videos, all my videos have been fully scripted, so when going on the camera to talk, I know exactly what I'm gonna say. So this is gonna be a little different. It's not gonna be as structured, it's not gonna be as analytical, and the brain cells are just not gonna be there, so apologies in advance, but I hope you guys will continue watching. So let's start off with Quarantine K. Now, this was the time when I watched anime so much that you could possibly call me the king otaku. I just couldn't do anything but watch anime because I was a senior in high school during that time, and you know, with the pandemic and quarantine, they canceled school, canceled classes, in-person activities were shut down, and I was stuck at home with absolutely nothing to do, with a 9anime.to ad popping up in my Instagram feed. And I decided to click on it just because, you know, I don't have a lot of money, so sketching, watching anime on very sketchy sites became a norm to consume the content. So I started watching a lot of series and absolutely enjoyed it, but I did watch some very questionable stuff back in 2020. First series I watched that I could vividly remember I was just so perplexed by was Akame ga Kill. It is a shonen action series that follows a young villager named Tatsumi who is traveling to the capital to support his family. However, in the event of meeting a sadistic woman, all of his friends were killed. And he was entered into this reality of a corrupt empire when Night Raid came in to get rid of that sadistic woman. I don't remember her name exactly. And Tatsumi joins Night Raid to extinguish the corrupt empire from existence. Now, the premise alone is actually pretty intriguing. I remember when I first watched it, I was like, oh, this is kind of cool. And as someone that was simply addicted to Netflix, I had to continue watching the series. I binged the series in I think it was like a day or two, because this is just something about me when it comes to consuming anime manga. Like, I can watch an anime in like a week. I could watch like a 26 episode anime in like a week, maybe if I'm binging it like a couple days. But when I have to read a manga takes me forever to read. Like, I'm currently rereading Mars, and it's taking me a very long time to read it. It's an amazing series, but I think when it came to, you know, watching Akame ga Kill, it was easier for me to just burst through the 25 episode anime rather than read the entire manga. Even though I have heard the manga is a lot better, it's easier for me to watch the series. But back to the whole conversation about Akame ga Kill. This series drained me. I was so drained. Like, our protagonist Tatsumi is like your normal average male protagonist, like, you know how shonen is. Think of Deku from My Hero Academia, think of Naruto from Naruto, think of Natsu from Fairy Tail. You know, a lot of it is very similar, and I definitely don't have a problem with it, but it was just like, it wasn't anything too special. But I don't know, the story was just really it was just really weird. Like, I couldn't like fully get into it. And of course, it's just gonna have the typical shonen isms that, you know, the demographic usually has. But that wasn't something that detracted me from the series. It was honestly the fact that they had to kill off every single main character except Akame. Like, it made no sense. I was so confused because, like, I feel like they were just doing it for like shock value, because I think there was this one girl, she has like yellow hair, and she literally just died out of nowhere. Like, she was fighting some people and then she just died. Like, I was so confused. And I was just like, when Akame met the commander and she was like, good job, whatever, you can move on to your next thing. And that point, I just realized that the story was really about Akame and not Tatsumi. But the story was really focusing on Tatsumi's past and giving him a lot of agency, and not as much Akame, which, you know, that's a debate for another day. There's also a villain in the series. Her name is Esdeath, and she's the baddie of the show. And she has a one-sided crush on Tatsumi, and I always found her crush on Tatsumi to be extremely weird. I never really got why she fell in love with him. It was like love at first sight. And there was no distinct characteristics. And also, let's not forget that scene where Esdeath is like bringing Tatsumi in bed. Like, what? I don't know. It was weird. The romantic storylines in this show are also like not that great. I think the only one I actually really liked was between Mine and Tatsumi, but they just couldn't let the girlies eat because Mine had to die. And honestly, I was so confused by the fact that she died. Like, that little explosion killed her. Like, what? Also, justice for that scissor girl. I loved her. She was so fun, and the fact that they couldn't let her be happy is just, I hated it, because I really loved her. She was actually one of my favorite characters, and she was only on screen for like a few episodes, so. Y'all, Say I Love You is amazing. I absolutely love this series. It is beautiful. It is fantastic. I love it so much. And unfortunately, like a decent amount of shoujo, they just don't get fully adapted series, which is just really sad. I think the series only had 13 episodes, 12 episodes. It was something like that. And I don't know, I really enjoyed it. For anyone that hasn't watched Say I Love You, it follows a young high school student named Mei Tachibana, who is your typical shy girl who just doesn't interact with people. She keeps to herself, and the only contacts that she has in her phone are her mom and work. Love it, love it. However, one day when there is a pervert wanting to see up May's skirt, we have the amazing, perfect roundhouse kick that May kicks Yamato with, which introduces our main soft boy, Yamato. Yamato is instantly in love with May from the moment he laid eyes on her, because, you know, she's not like other girls. Yamato develops a curiosity for Mei, and they start to meet up with each other. Yamato gives Mei his contact so they can start communicating with each other and forming a relationship with each other. And it wasn't until Mei started getting stalked by someone who comes to her job that she started to see Yamato in a different light. And oh my gosh, this man is so like, the fact that he just pulled May into a kiss and was like, yeah, dude, too old, don't, no, you're not gonna be with my girl. And he just kissed her, and May was so surprised. I was like, oh my god. It's just one of those series that you just like to kick your feet and squeal. It's just one of those romance series. I absolutely love it. But there is an uncanny veneer that started to become more noticeable on TikTok. I am very surprised with the reception of Yamato from Say I Love You.
And if you wonder if I hate you,
like, you'll have people saying that Yamato is a bad person and he's not good for May and he's gonna cheat on her, which I feel like we're kind of watching two different series, because I can mention some very toxic male characters. But Yamato is just a really nice person. I mean, he doesn't overstep his boundaries with May. He doesn't force her into doing anything. He always prioritizes her first. Like, he literally quit modeling for the antagonist of the show, who is also another, I forgot her name, but she was like trying to steal Yamato away because she thought that he was better than being with May. I hate it here. Like, if this doesn't parallel Kimi to Doke exactly, I don't know what is. Like, this girl is literally Gurumi, like, to a T, but like the worst version of Gurumi because she doesn't learn from her mistakes. But that's like a whole thing with love triangles and shoujo, and how people will simp after the boy and then the woman is just a conniving bitch. Like, it's giving internalized misogyny. I also just vividly love the sequences when Yamato met up with May's mom, and like May's mom was like super happy. Like, it was so cute. Like, I don't know, the series is really special, and the way they handled the love triangle was also really great. Like, the other male character in the love triangle, I also thought he had a lot of development, and even though you know he's not going to be endgame, I still think they handled his arc really well. The way that Yamato was like, I'm not going to take this guy's shit, is amazing. But I also feel like he woke Yamato up, and he was kind of like, you need to like treat May with care. She's someone that's never been in a relationship, so you can't just assume things. And he learns from it. He understands it, and he prioritizes May. And he's just such a kind person, and I'm gonna talk about him more in another video because I want to make a whole video dedicated to shoujo boys and like the perception of them. So that's gonna be in a video few months later. But yeah, Say I Love You is just a perfect example of kind of layering down the male character and having him, you know, not be someone that's always thinking that he's better than everyone else just because he's popular. And even though that is a common thing with shoujo boys, I think that Yamato from Say I Love You is a better portrayal of it than other series like our next anime. I have talked about Peach Girl an enormous amount of times on my channel. Like, I would not be surprised if my audience is getting tired of it. I have made 2 long video essays about it. If you guys want to check it out, I'll have that link down below in my description. But yeah, Peach Girl is my shit. I love this series, even though I have many gripes with it. It's my #1 guilty pleasure of choice. And if you have not watched or read Peach Girl, like, please do. Like, if you're a bestie on this channel, you need to watch it. Like, that's a requirement. Like, write it in a notebook. It's your assignment. You need to turn it into me, and it needs to be graded. Yes, I will be grading you on your accuracy of the characters and how it's portrayed and the way that Miwa Ueda writes her characters. Like, yeah, please do it. But I don't know, like Peach Girl to me was one of those series that I watched during quarantine. It was a series that completely took over TikTok. Like if you just type Peach Girl on TikTok, there is a myriad of videos, people talking about it.
The relationship Momo has with these two, it's so irritating, especially towards the end with Kyrie, cause this man is really so damn irritating, cause all they had to do was communicate. Yeah, I know when it comes to drama anime, most of the time, like some of the best things happens because they don't communicate, but in this one, it was pissing me off. Because she wanted to, you know, like the thing was, she was like, oh, at the end of the summer, wait for me, we're going on this trip, blah, blah, only wait 5 minutes. When it's like, dog, be real. You could have waited longer than that, but literally what happens is his brother gets injured and this man goes into, you know, the taxi with the one nurse or whatever. She sees it, she feels some type of way, and she calls him. At that moment, all he had to say was, my brother got injured. He got put in the ambulance. I'm going to with her to support her and like see my brother, blah, blah, all that. But instead, this man just beats around the bush, plays around with her emotions, especially towards the end. He had so many chances when they came back to school, still didn't say nothing. It's so damn irritating.
People complaining about it.
Yeah, it's only right that we unpack this. It's only right. Before we really get into this, I just want to preface this by saying attempted rape happened twice in the show. Twice! And you know what makes matters worse? Not only was he able to get away with attempted rape, he was able to have a relationship with an underage teenage girl and then proceed to try to sell that girl, like you said, into pornography. And y'all want to know what this man's excuse was for doing all that he did? I'm just a bad guy. You don't think? Oh my God.
And loads of AMVs. I honestly think with Momo, like, people be calling her like a baddie, and I just really don't see it. She seems like a very normal high school 16-year-old, you know. She has a little bit of an edge with being a tan-skinned girl, and how men perceive her, but like that doesn't necessarily make her a baddie. She's just a normal girl, a very naive girl at that. Like the way she just believes everything that Sai says is just absolutely ludicrous. And I do stand by what I said in my first Peach Girl video essay where I talked about Sai was my favorite character, because she was. I don't think she's a good character, but she is my favorite. But yeah, the way that Momo was just so oblivious to what Sai was doing. Like, I remember when I was watching the series, like, I just did not realize, like, half these teenagers were literally dating full-on adults. Like, are we gonna forget that Kyrie was dating Morica? Morica's an adult woman. And also, let's also not forget that Kyrie literally lied to Momo, like, almost about everything. Kyrie is not a good love interest for Momo. I think it's been very vocally stated on TikTok how neither of the love interests are good, and none of them are good. Stop saying Kyrie is this simp from heaven, because he's not. He's better than average, but the man literally gaslights Momo, and in the sequel series, he's oh my god, in Peach Girl Next, he's unbearable. But I also do think the main reason, like I stated earlier with Say I Love You and Kimi ni Todoke, that like people are gonna simp for the main boy lead rather than the main female lead. So even though Kyrie's the second male lead, they would rather have, you know, him be with her and not Toji, because, you know, they don't want it to be predictable and they just feel bad for him.
I want to change the world.
I absolutely loved Inuyasha. I watched Inuyasha, what was it? It was like, I first watched it like in 2017, so I watched it a while ago, and then I rewatched it again during quarantine, and it actually still feels really, really good. I still really love the series, and I feel like the whole Kikyo, Kagome, Inuyasha love triangle is like very similar to the one in Peach Girl, where like Inuyasha really prioritized Kikyo and like Kagome was always second best, in my opinion. Like, I don't think he like truly liked her for her instead of like as a replacement for Kikyo. I felt like, you know, their romance wasn't terrible, but it's also like this guy's like a century old or multiple centuries old because it takes place in the feudal era. So I'm just confused why we're saying that, you know, they're also perfect for each other, because it's also really weird. And also, like, let's also not forget that Sesshomaru ends up with Ren. Another series that I actually watched a while ago was called Hanasakeru Seishounen. The story was interesting, but like it was just so, it just felt kind of dated, like, and not like in a retro way. It just felt dated, like the scenery and the way people were talking. It was just weird. And I also do think a big part of it was because I think the manga for that came out in 1988, and I think the anime for it came out in 2009. So it's like, I think the 20-something year time difference had something to do with it. But if you guys don't know what Hanasakeru Seishounen is, it is a shoujo slice of life, kind of like a political drama series that follows a young girl named Kajika who lived on a isolated Caribbean island where she befriends a snow leopard named Mustafa. Yes, she is in love with a snow leopard. And she was on this island with her caretaker / love interest Lilang, who is, I mean, he's a good person, but it's also just weird because he's 18 and Kajika is 14. But like, their relationship was actually pretty cool. I thought like he really cared for her, and at least throughout the episodes that I watched, because I only watched like to the halfway point, and you know, she meets like 2 other guys. I forgot the one guy's name. He was like some type of royalty figure, and then a guy named Carl. And he was also just kind of like meh, and I just couldn't finish the series because I was just like, it's just kind of dragging. It just wasn't for me. It was fine, but it was also just really weird. And but it's like not terrible though, so if you do want to check it out, it's an older shoujo, so just know that before like watching or reading it. And finally, to round up this video, because I literally only have 2 minutes left on my camera, is Chihayafuru. Oh my gosh. I love this anime. I was a little skeptical watching this one at first because I'm not a huge sports person, like a sports anime watcher, but I just really loved how the characters aren't just limited to Karuta, and they actually have there's a lot of like breathing room outside playing the game. So it was just really cool to see Chihaya. I feel like I shouldn't have to give a synopsis on it, but I'll give a little quick one. It's about Chihaya, who is in the shadows of her sister who likes to do modeling, and she kind of wants to get out of her shadow. And we meet our other second male lead, which is Taichi, and another one named Arata, and they form a karate club and they start doing karate tournaments until Arata has to leave, and Taichi and Chihaya kind of get more members and they start competing, and it's just, oh, it's so fun. It's such a beautiful series, and all the characters are really well developed. The one girl that likes to read poetry is really well developed. The guy in the glasses are really well developed. I haven't finished Chihayafuru yet, so I don't know what happened, so try not to spoil it, or if you do, just put like a little thing in the comments. But Arata and Chihaya, meh. Taichi and Chihaya,
A classic. Classic. Not debatable. Not up for debate.
I'm gonna stop rambling now because I have been talking for a hot minute. But thank you guys so much for watching this video and just kind of sitting with me in my little living room. And I will see you guys soon for a new video. I'm almost done with my Kodocha video, so I'm really excited to talk about one of my favorite shoujo series, and I'll see y'all in the next one. Bye!